Welcome to Deck Analysis and Testing. Today we have a look at the Hungry Burger archetype. Novelites, or I guess Novelles, have a very interesting playstyle. They are a ritual deck that can consume attack position monsters to level themselves up from level 1 all the way to level 6. If you've never heard of this archetype before or don't know what it does, here are some reasons you might want to try this deck out. The deck has a strong resource loop, having an archetype ways to shuffle stuff back from your graveyard back to your deck, and many more ways to fill your deck with cards that you can draw with your skill and your rituals, or stuff that you search from your deck. It also has the strongest type of monster removal, a non-targeting, non-destruction effect, being able to tribute multiple monsters your opponent controls without even targeting. It's also really cheap and barely needs any non-engine, both in the main and extra deck, and even in the expensive version, as you will be able to see later. And best of all, you get to use the funny non-effect ritual monster that came out on day 1. So let's have a look at the stuff in the deck. Many people play 30 cards because you burn through the stuff in your deck pretty quickly, but the issue is that the deck doesn't really have a consistency skill. The skill doesn't really help you start your combo, except when you go second, which you don't do every single time. So I built this deck with only 20 cards so that you open with your starters more consistently, but you also want to run into the risk of running out of stuff really quickly, so you might want to just not activate some of the effects that allow you to search cards, because otherwise you will run out of stuff to search really quickly. I will start with the only non-pendulum, non-ritual monster in our deck, which is the Pendulum monster. This is the level 1 effect Pendulum monster, which is like the chef of the deck. There's actually another one that's not out yet, but for the time being, this is the only one in the game. If you control a ritual monster as a pendulum scale, you can target a monster on the field, special summon this card, and then change that monster's battle position. So changing battle position in this deck is pretty strong because the deck can only tribute attack position monsters most of the time. So having effects that forces your opponent's monsters to be in attack is really helpful, because if your opponent knows what you're doing, they will summon their stuff in defense to play around a lot of your monster removal effects. And as a monster, if it's normal or special summoned, you can activate one of these effects, add a level 1 ritual or a recipe from your deck to your hand. And by the way, the recipe cards are the ritual spells, and some of the traps are also recipes. And you can banish any number of recipe cards in your graveyard to special summon a Novelate ritual monster from your hand, equal to the level that you banished. But you can only choose one of the 2 effects, and most oftentimes you're going to choose the first one, which searches whatever you are missing. And also, if this card is tributed on the field and added to your extra deck, you can put it back to your scale face up. So this is your main combo starter. Isn't really a 1-card combo, because you still need, a ritual monster and a ritual spell, but it does help you get to your plays easier. Our first ritual is the level 1 guy. The level 1 Novelli can, when special summoned, excavate the top 5 cards of your deck and add a excavated Novelite card to your hand and shuffle the rest back to your deck. Also, another reason why playing less than 30 is beneficial in this situation, because it helps you get what you need with the excavation effect of discard. And when a counter effect is activated that targets this card on the field, or if it's targeted for an attack, you can tribute this card plus an attack position monster on either field, and then special summon a level 2 or 3 Novelite ritual monster from your hand or deck. So this is a running theme of all the ritual monsters. They all can tribute an attack position monster under certain conditions, and then level up to a ritual that has 1 or 2 levels higher than itself. The low-level ritual monsters are more strict in the condition, so like the level 1 and 2 can only activate this effect when it is targeted for an effect or an attack, but the higher level ones can use this effect more easily. So like the level 3 guys can use it whenever any monster targets it's targeted for an attack or an effect, not just itself. So even if your opponent, if you attack your opponent using this card, that will still trigger the tribute effect, and that's pretty good. And then and also the actual tributing part, you can tribute something other than itself. You can tribute another Novel 8 monster instead of itself. And for the level 5 and 6 guys, you can just use this effect whenever you want instead of having to wait for your opponent to target your guys or attack your guys. You can just use it whenever you want and tribute a attack position monster on the field and then special summon a high level Novelite from the deck. And it doesn't need to even tribute anything from your field, just tributing the attack position monster will be enough. Anyway, let's have a look at the other rituals. The level 2 guy on summon can pop a spell trap on the field, and also has the tagging out effect if it is targeted for an effect or an attack. The level 3 can draw a card on summon, and has the slightly better version of the level up effect that can trigger whenever any monster is targeted for an attack or an effect. Same with the level 4, it is also be able to trigger when any monster is targeted. And on summon, this card can shuffle back 3 cards from any graveyard back to the deck. It is great disruption, you can use it to remove stuff from your opponent's graveyard, and also a really great way to recycle your rituals that you will be using over the course of your turn. The level 5 guy, when special summoned, can add a Novelite or recipe card from your deck to your hand, and also you can target an attack position monster to tribute it and then summon the level 6 from your deck. It is by far the best form of level up out of all of the rituals that you have. Or I guess if you don't count the one that summons the Hungry Burger. So this is the final boss monster. I guess if you don't count Hungry Burger, this card on summon can negate all face-up cards your opponent currently controls until the end of the turn. And if it's special summoned by the effect of a Novelite monster, you can attribute as many monsters as your opponent controls as possible. Really, really strong effect. It is pretty much a board wipe, really hard to interact with because it doesn't target, it doesn't destroy. It just sacks your opponent's entire board. So when this card hits the field, you pretty much win the game. And also it has a quick effect. You can target an attack position monster your opponent controls to tribute it, and then special summon a Hungry Burger from your hand or deck. And that's why we are also playing a single copy of the Hungry Burger. We will never be ritual summoning this card. We will only be cheating it out using the Novelite ritual monster effects. For the spells, we are playing 2 copies of Culinary Confrontation. This card is also a way to get to your plays by searching the level 1 effect monster that we have. You can choose a Novelty Pendulum monster and a Pastel Pendulum monster from your hand, deck, or extra deck. Special summon both monsters, one to your field and one to your opponent's field. That sounds like a downside, but in reality, it is oftentimes a upside because it gives you an attack position monster on turn 1 for you to just tribute with your ritual monsters. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a face-up monster on the field. It gains a bit of attack. The attack gating isn't really that useful. It is more useful just to have an effect that targets your own ritual to trigger the effect when they are targeted. Next we have Voici la carte, today's menu. This card is also a kind of a starter. It's a weird one. You can choose 2 Novelite monsters with different names in your deck, and then your opponent gets to choose one of them to add to your hand. And then if you add level 1, actually no, you can add, if any Beast Warrior is added, you can add the Fish recipe, and if any Warrior monster is added, you get to add the Meat recipe. And usually you're going to choose the level 1 Ritual and the level 1 Pendulum. So if they add a Pendulum, that's great. This is a really good starter. If they add a Ritual, you also get the bonus Ritual spell added to your hand as well. So either way, you're going to have like 2/3 of your turn 1 setup added to your hand. And if you already have like any of these, you can instead try to grab the level 2 as well to have just more plays available. With one copy of the field spell, this card, when activated, can add a recipe from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Once per turn, you can place a ritual from your hand at the bottom of your deck and draw a card. So if you happen to open with any of these rituals and you prefer them to be in your deck, you just put them back into your deck and then draw a card. And then during your end phase, once per turn, target 2 cards in your graveyard, including a recipe, place them at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then draw a card. So this card is also a really big factor in why this deck can grind so well. We have 2 ritual spells. One is the fish recipe. Both ritual spells can ritual summon any of the rituals that we are playing, but they have bonus effects if you summon a specific monster. So the fish recipe has a bonus effect when you summon the level 1. In that, you can just add a ritual spell from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except itself. So if you ritual summon the level 1, you get to add the other ritual spell. When this card is used and summons the level 2 guy, you can change all defense position monsters your opponent controls back to attack position. So another way to change stuff to attack position, which is, as I explained, pretty useful. 2 sharp cards we're playing. One is a counter trap. This card can negate any effect, and if you control a Novelli that is special summoned by a Novelli monster, you get to destroy that card as well. If you special summon exactly Hungry Burger, you can banish this card from your graveyard and just sack your opponent's entire board. A bit situational, but really strong if you are able to pull this off. One copy of the staff recipe, which is a continuous trap, and can once per turn target a ritual monster you control, and special summon a token that has barely any attack and defense, and that token's level becomes the same as that monster that you targeted. That sounds kind of terrible on paper, but don't forget that that is an effect that targets your own ritual, so that will trigger any of the rituals that needed to be targeted to use their effects. And also, not only that, the tokens you can summon can be summoned in attack position. So any of the rituals that you need to tribute attack monsters, you can use the token as the tribute if your opponent doesn't have any attack position monsters that you can tribute with. And also, you can send this card from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard to ritual summon a Novelli monster from your hand by tributing monster from your hand or field, which total levels equal to the ritual monster exactly. Kind of situational, to be honest, but can serve as a form of interruption. For example, you can summon the level 2 guy to pop a back row during your opponent's turn. For the extra deck, we were playing 2 copies of Pasticiel. This card is not very good, but you do need it for the quick play spell. You need the fusion to be able to summon to your opponent's side, and just it being in attack position is pretty good to tribute using your own ritual monster effects. The effects of this card don't really matter. You don't use it at all. It's just a free guy that you can tribute with. And the other guys in the extra deck, we barely even summon at all, so I'll go through them quickly, because we are playing so many level 1 monsters. We are playing some rank 1s, on some Blue Robin, and Assembled Nightingale are something that we can play theoretically. Triple Burst as a generic link free, Draco Masters, Lamphorhynchus for the non-effect target for Draco Masters, and a copy of Linkuriboh. There is a tiny synergy with Linkuriboh with the Pendulum monster, because the Linkuriboh can revive itself by tributing a level 1 monster, and the level 1 Pendulum has an effect when it is tributed to place itself back into your Pendulum zone. So I guess that's like all it has in terms of synergy. And finally, let's have a look at the skill. The skill does not have any sort of consistency skill if you go first, so that's why we have to play 20 cards in this free-to-play version. And if you control the level 1 Pendulum, you get to set a recipe card from your deck, and it can be activated in the same turn. Usually you're just going to set the continuous trap, because it helps you level up your ritual monsters. Or you can set a copy of the counter trap if you go second to help play through established boards. Then if you can also apply the following effect afterwards. You can shuffle up to 2 monster cards from your hand or face-up field back to your deck, and then draw the same amount of cards. Again, just more ways you can fin your deck. But sometimes in this version, you might not even want to do that because you prefer some of the rituals to stay in your deck. And the second effect, from turn 2 onward, you can add the quick play searcher spell from your deck to your hand for absolutely free. So you can just add that card, this card. You can just add this card, which is a starter, and all effects of the skill are only once per turn and not once per duel, so you can use them over and over again. Not like it really matters too much after turn 1 because you already have everything set up, but it's still nice nonetheless. And here we have a look at the expensive version. Not much has changed other than we played 3 copies of the starters, both the monster and the quick play. We also played 3 copies of Veiler because the deck needs more kinds of interruption, and like because the deck draws so much, you kind of want stuff that can do something when you draw, and Veiler is a very good one because your back row are oftentimes clogged with a copy of the counter trap, a copy of the continuous, and the pendulum. So all 3 zones are usually clogged. So having a hand trap instead of a generic back row is pretty useful in this deck in particular. And Veiler is not once per turn, so if you draw multiple Veilers, you can just use any amount of them. And also it just helps you go second. And we're also playing 3 copies of the level 1 ritual, just more consistency because this is part of your turn 1 setup. And for the extra deck, not much has changed. It's just 3 copies of the Passive CL because we're playing 3 copies of the, 3 copies of the quick play. And then just generic stuff that we will pretty much never summon, but Moon of the Closed Heaven is a pretty interesting inclusion along with Underworld Goddess, because, well, you get Moon from the same box and it helps you get rid of stuff. Even though I guess the deck already has plenty of ways to get rid of stuff on its own. So with that said, let's have a look at some replays. So the first game we're playing against Utopia, which is a deck that you will be facing a lot. And one of the biggest upsides of playing this deck currently is that people don't really know what this deck does, so they are going to try to target your rituals and trigger the level up effects. Our opponent will transform and then just add stuff to their hand. And the Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray is kind of scary, but not really that big of a deal against our deck specifically because we get to get around his protection. I mean, they have a equip spell that protects him from being targeted, but we don't really care. And also, they can try to negate, but that is a targeting effect which will trigger our rituals. So they're gonna grab a copy of the Rank Up and a Pegasus Twin Saber, and we just have to find a way to play around the negate. Our opponent will grab a Numeral Force, Astrotopia to grab a Numbers Protection, and well, yeah, the only issue in our opponent's end board is exactly the counter trap, but if we can play through that, we should be fine. Our opponent will make another Utopia Ray, which is a soft once per turn, kinda insane. I'm going to use a skill first and foremost to grab a quick play spell. Unfortunately, we drew both of the traps because ideally we want to set one counter trap using the skill, but I guess we couldn't do that. We're going to normal summon the level 1, it gets negated. We try to use the today's menu, it also gets negated. So now we can just set the recipe and then try to draw card that gets us out of this mess, and we do draw the level 1 plus a ritual, so we can continue playing. Fortunately, I'm going to use the effect to try to grab something off the top of our deck, and the thing comes back. And he's going to negate with the Pegasus Twin Saber, so we can't search anything. Okay, that's fine. We're going to target our own monster, and then use the effect to tribute our opponent's Utopia Ray, make it level 3 draw a card, we attack, trigger its effect, to tribute the other Utopia Ray, and then use a level 4, shuffle back the rituals back to our deck, and then pass back turn. Our opponent will Lava Golem, which is really scary in this format. People like to play that card in Utopia, but they don't really have enough follow-up with one card in their hand, so they're just gonna scoop. Okay, second game, again, against Utopia, and this time we are going first, so let's see what this deck does. we did have the level 1, so we're pretty safe. But we won't summon that just yet. We're gonna use the spell first to reveal both the level 1 Ritual and the level 1 Pendulum. And usually people pick the Ritual because the level 1 Pendulum is just a starter. So they're gonna give us the level 1 Ritual, and then we're gonna reveal to them that we have the level 1 Pendulum all along. We're gonna Ritual summon the level 1 Nouvelle, and then add the meat recipe. Level 1 Chaining 1, and then Pendulum Chaining 2. We're gonna excavate some cards on top of our deck. We're just gonna add something. I guess we're gonna add level 3, and then we're just gonna set one and pass. No reason to overextend because that is quite a bit of interruptions to get through anyway. And one advantage of playing Nouvelles is that it is quite hard for your opponent to actually get rid of the stuff you have on the field, because if your opponent tries to target your guy, they just get tagged out and their guy gets tributed. So if your opponent knows what how to play against this deck, they're gonna summon their stuff in defense and then try to get rid of your monsters before they summon it in attack. Kind of like Wanderies, they have to kind of play around summoning stuff in attack position. Anyway, our opponent will activate Reinforcement of the Army, grabbing more level 4 warriors. Astrotopia is pretty strong, grabs them numbers protection, but not really that big of a deal when we go first. And then you grab Xyz Reflect, which is interesting. Still nothing really threatens what we have on the field, so no reason to really fire our counter trap. And fun fact, Utopia Array has a secret effect. But before that happens, we're gonna chain the continuous trap, targeting our own level 1, and that will trigger the tribute effect, getting rid of our opponent's first Utopia Array. Our opponent will use the effect, I try to negate, and well, it turns out it has a secret effect that says this effect cannot be negated, so the counter trap just gets sent to the graveyard, nothing happens, but that's still fine. Our opponent will try to get rid of our ritual, we can chain the ritual, get rid of their Xyz, and well, that should be the end of the game. Okay, final game, we are playing the expensive version, going second against Wind Witches this time. So we open our hand, no Effect Veiler, Big Sag. That should not be too big of a deal because the way that this deck works kind of plays around some of the common interruptions that this deck makes anyway. So, for example, clearing Fast Dragon can only negate stuff from the extra deck, and we do not intend to summon anything from the extra deck ever in this game. So that's one down, and then we just need to play through the Crystal Wing and we should be good. So we are going to make a Winter Bell, take a bit of damage, and then yada yada yada. A Crystal Wing hits the field, and then a Fast Dragon also hits the field, and then he's just gonna use the skill to just, I guess, grab follow up, and then yeah, pass. Effect Veiler, wow, where were you last time? So we're gonna use the Culinary Confrontation, give our opponent a copy of the Fusion, and then use it level 1. He's gonna negate that, I guess, just like ES Turbo, and we're gonna use the today's menu to try to grab something. He thinks that because it's a hard one splitter, he can just give us the Pendulum, but joke's on you, I just want a level 1 material for our ritual. And also, it does trigger the effect to place itself as a scale when we use it as a material, and that is exactly what I need. We're gonna use the level 1 Nouvelle and Pendulum to scale itself back. The level 1 can add the level 4, and then we can start to ritual summon another copy of the ritual. The level 2 forces our opponent's monster to be in attack and forces out the back row. So that pops our counter trap that we set with our skill. That's no big deal. That means we have nothing really to worry about left in our opponent's side of the field. So we can use the attack boosting effect to target our own guy, tribute our Fast Dragon, the level 3, targeting our opponent's Crystal Wing, using the field spell to add back the special recipe, so if we don't win this turn we can still set the counter trap. And the level 5 can tribute our opponent's monster whenever we want, doesn't even need to be targeted, so we just yoink our own fusion, I guess, and then we just make it level 6, and then we just attack full game, and that is the end. GG.